I made tea and had a biscuit with it, and then it made me really hungry, so I've had some peanuts.
That's fine. As long as you're not allergic to peanuts.
No, I am.
Oh, sorry. Hold on. Oh my god. Hey everybody, and welcome to All Bronze No Brains episode 32. And this week we're talking about Go Fish, which is season 2, episode 20 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yay!
Yay!
We're 1 week away from the finale.
Thank fuck.
You can run, but you can't hide, bitch.
What? I mean,
And then we get into season 3, which was shot on digital, so everything just starts to look so like...
No one cares.
This episode was written by David Fury. It was a collaboration with his wife, Ellen Hampton, and it was directed by David Semmel. This is all the Davids in this episode.
go David.
My god, you did it.
Go David.
You did it.
Yes.
You did it.
What a pair of assholes.
And I don't know if you know, but David Fury was a writer on Buffy, Angel, Lost, 24, Fringe, and he won a couple of Emmys as well.
I was going to ask you, I was going to wait until we're doing the podcast to see who did the writing, because it did feel different. It felt like a different voice using the characters, and it felt a bit season one-y sometimes. Some of the things that are being said felt a bit like the characters are just being figured out again.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. That might be because of what I had mentioned previously, where this episode was originally planned to be in the first half of the season.
Could be actually that it feels, yes, that's what it is. It feels like the character development drops back.
Except for Cordelia, which we can talk about later, where I feel like even in her big comedy moment, you know, when Xander's in the pool, it still uses that comedy to actually push forward like a real character growth moment,
Yeah, true, actually.
which I thought was great. But maybe Cordelia's easy to write for because she's like one of the best characters. Shall we dive right in? Lose our sin. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide.
Plunge right in, lose your sin. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide, deep and wide. There's a fountain flowing deep and wide.
Let's go.
So, we start, like we do with every episode, with our opening prologue.
In every generation there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
This is the last time we're ever going to hear it in the series.
Oh, thank God. I think it's shite. I think we get the picture now. If you're only coming to Buffy at this point.
I mean, a lot of people seem to just be coming to us at this point. I'm like,
Hi, new listeners. Hi, thanks for listening.
and yeah, now we move forward to previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
The weird shit English accent, but yeah.
even though he's English.
But is it? He sounds like an American doing an English accent.
Previously on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No, it's like Rosalind Pike. She was in like Gone Girl and The Wheel of Time. I would say she speaks.
Yeah.
Her voice gives me anxiety because it's like she's always out of breath. Everything's happening right now. Like in The Wheel of Time, it's like, you must leave before the Trollocs come. Like, right, calm down, Rosalind. So, last time we ever hear that prologue, and we open at the beach and we see that the Sunnydale High School swim team are celebrating their latest victory, the state semi-finals. Xander is moaning about having a party at the beach because it's too nippy, so say his nips. And I thought that was funny because I thought we made up nippy.
I felt very like, yeah, Irishy, Britishy, sure, rather than American.
American. It feels nippy. Xander comments that this time last month, Dodd, one of the swimmers, was a freak with Yakima breath who waxes his back, and now all of a sudden he's cool.
What's Yakima?
Yakima is a Mexican turnip.
Oh, nice. And I'll turn up for the event.
But apparently, sorry, I just got that was funny.
Fuck you so much. Just walked all over it. Just anyway.
Cordelia says, well, thank fuck Sunnydale's finally doing good at something because the cheerleaders have just been supporting big fat losers. And I don't know if you noticed in the background, the girl dancing behind Xander, obviously no music as we know now. He's just like...
And hearing her out of breath like...
On sand as well. Walking on sand is hard enough. I couldn't imagine dancing on sand.
Sounds like a song.
I'm dancing on sand.
Whoa.
Whoa. Buffy is doing her best Avril Lavigne music video tribute, sitting sulking on a rock, looking out at the ocean.
Why is everything so confusing?
She's so dramatic. I love it. Cameron Walker, a member of the swim team, comes up to Buffy, and he just starts like talking pure shite to her and like saying bad poetry about the ocean.
This, firstly, right, made me go like, oh, so this is obviously a demon in this guy's body, and it's an old man, old 200-year-old demon, because no teenager in 1998 speaks like this to another girl. And I was like, I genuinely, for ages, because there's some lines that are said throughout this whole episode that are not something that a teenager at that time would have said. And I genuinely, the whole way through, kept going, I'm wondering, is this going to be, when we get, I'll tell you another one when we get to it, but it felt
Yeah.
very like old English way of speaking. And it felt really strange to me. I don't know why.
So I wonder if it was also part of the influence of like Dawson's Creek, for example, that because Dawson's Creek was on at the same time as Buffy, and Smith, no Kevin Smith, that's Jay and Silent Bob. Kevin Williamson wrote it, and they always said things like, "I'm sorry if my pseudo like semi quasi existence is giving you like a pseudo blah," you know.
Oh, right, okay. So maybe it is a thing of its time that they're trying to sound really smart.
Yeah. Because even a bit of Scream was like Kevin Williamson wrote Scream as well, and there's moments in that are a bit like
All right, okay.
like that.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Buffy's doing her best emo Evanescence, sitting on the rock. Cameron comes up to her, starts talking loads of shite about the ocean, and Buffy's like, "I was just gonna say big and wet." I was like, "Like my bussy."
Like your ma. Oh.
You want to talk about
Sorry.
you want to talk about it's mother time.
Cameron says he wants to get to know her because he likes being around her, and I'm like, "Boke." I'm just like, it's so hard to like invest in these things when you've never seen a character before. But maybe that's what makes it more cringe, you know, when she's like, "Well, Cameron Walker, what are you going to do now?" And he's like, "I'm going to get to know Buffy Summers." I'm like, no, you're not.
I would agree with you, but I think this is where I'm going to keep. I think our little my theme today is going to come back to the writing. So remember the time with the really nice boyfriend she had, and he's a
Owen?
really nice Owen, but immediately when he showed up, you immediately went, "I believe it." It's that thing. I believe him. There's just something about the way this guy came. It just made me suspicious. I don't know. It just feels really kind of. I don't know. I just didn't believe it.
The thing that I do kind of like about it is that he's obviously not cool, because you can tell by all the stuff that he says about the ocean and stuff. So it does go to show that like this is the
Oh, that
effect.
they were nerds and they now are jocks.
That's
Oh,
kind of my
very good.
interpretation of it.
Very good. I never thought of it that way. That's really good. That's a really good way to think of it. Okay, cool.
I'm going to hang out with Buffy Summers. Get to know her.
Hey, pause that tape for a
But
second.
hey, no pressure.
But as we'll soon find out, there will definitely be pressure.
Classic boys being classic boys.
Boys will be boys. Meanwhile, Jonathan is being dunked in a bucket of ice water. He's doing the ALS challenge. Buffy rescues him and scares off the two bullying swimmers, but Jonathan is raging with Buffy for saving him, and he tells her to leave him alone, even though he literally just shouted, "Somebody help me."
I know, but I think it's being helped by a girl. Like, it's even more, I think that, that male pride thing,
I'm not a male.
even a wee tiny squirt like him.
I love tiny squirts.
Anyway, this is where we get the bullies Dodd and Gage. Awful names. Awful names. It's like random shit name generator. And it also is crap bully American names.
Random shit name generator. Yeah, like
Dodd
Bebop and
and Gage.
Rocksteady.
Yes, even though they're types of timing. Bebop and Rocksteady
Are
is
they?
timing. Yeah, Bebop.
I
Not
never knew
American
that.
Skull.
But
Yeah,
that's
it's all like
also
musical terms.
because that's the name of the turtles, the
Yeah,
baddies.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, the bullies walk off and talk about how weird and creepy Buffy is. Dodd suddenly stops, looking off into the middle distance,
Into the middle.
because he does this like.
Yeah, it's almost like he goes cross-eyed.
Do you know, like, whenever you smell a fart, but you're confident it wasn't you, but you're in the house on your own?
I don't personally know what that's like.
And Gage smells something rotten, and he's like, "What is that foulness?"
Ah, dude, what is that foulness?
That line,
Dude, what is that foulness?
that line made me go, "What?" But I think you're right. And you see, hearing you deliver it like that, it does come across as like when Americans There was a time whenever they were trying to sound smarter or whatever.
If it was in Belfast, we'd be like, "Yeah, did you shit yourself?"
Smell your minge. So he calls for Dodd but can't see him anywhere. He runs off to the beach to join the other mates. Right, so him and his mate down the beach after something mental happened. And he's like, where'd Dodd go? Oh, well. And then runs off. Fuck him. Runs off. What's that squelchy sound I can hear? No, must be nothing. And runs off to his mates. Mental. So we do hear some ripping, squelchy noises, growls.
It's your man taking off her knickers.
Stephen Hot Skins land on the beach as a monster sneaks into the sewer. And I thought this was the effects in this, the practical effects in this were amazing. It was really gross. It was really looked like skin, and I loved the steam. The steam coming off really made me go like, that's a bit stink. Actually, the visual effects in this are amazing. The practical effects, are amazing.
They're really good. I love that kind of like traditional monster design.
When we see later on, whenever one of the monsters rips open the chest and you can see inside the chest, I was like, whoa, they really did. They really went to town on the effects in this one, which is great. And this is where we cut to our credits. And as we've seen, our Gage is Wentworth Miller.
Yeah.
Famous. This is his first acting job. So he's famous from Prison Break, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. We all know him. Prison Break is what we all know him from. The cool guy.
And he's gay.
Is he gay?
Yeah. Can you not tell from this episode?
The next day, and I have a bit to say, so let me get through this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this, my love. The next day, Willow's teaching a class for free again, as she's wandering around checking people's work, and she's wandering around going like, "Oh, good job! Oh, that's very good you're doing there." Like, imagine she was a people walking. She'd be getting her bollocks knocked in if she was in my class. But anyway, she sees Gage is playing solitaire instead of doing his work. She tells him off, but he doesn't seem to care, as she's not a teacher and has absolutely no authority over these children. So of course she wouldn't. Why would you listen? Snyder shows up and tells Willow that they're struggling to find a competent teacher this late in the term and asks if she's okay to sub till finals.
Oh, sure. I like teaching.
Isn't that nice?
Right. She's very excited and says she loves teaching. This is really nice. Of course, there are kids that exist in this world that love a bit of responsibility. So if you give a child a responsibility, especially from an adult, they're going to do it. But I'm like, is she getting paid? Probably not. Snyder alludes to her being a team player and everyone on the team needs a pass. And he says, I hear there's a problem with Gage. Willow tells Snyder that Gage is a stupid bastard because he doesn't show up, doesn't do his test, doesn't do his homework, and he's a cheeky cunt. Snyder doesn't care, tells her because Gage is in the swim team and therefore under much more pressure than the rest of the class that he should basically get special treatment, and tells her to bump his grade from an F to a D, right? So this whole scene between Snyder and Willow is brilliant, right? I really loved. Snyder is amazing.
He's great in this episode.
He is just also an amazing actor because I fucking hate him so much, which means the actor is doing a really good job of making me fucking hate that snide prick. But my thing was that makes me go like, and this is just one of those like, of course, or what? If he was like, either you change his grade to an F to a D, or what? You'd already said you can't get any other teachers. You're relying on a pupil to teach your class. What are you going to do if you don't change it? Not teach the class? I think she's a lot more power than she realizes. It was quite funny though, the opening of it, when she's walking around like going, "Oh, very good, very good." But it just there's something about this that makes me go like, suspend my disbelief just a little bit too much. Can believe in the vampires, can't believe in the people teaching a class.
Well, that's it. Especially a woman. And if you zoom in, on the computer screens, they're all on Rotten.com. So we cut to the hallway, and I love this dialogue that we get in the hallway between Xander, Willow, and Cordelia. It's so funny because you're like, some of the dialogue, but I'm like, I actually loved all the dialogue in it. But maybe it's because it's like a nostalgia early season when things were fun and light and carefree.
He actually told you to alter his grade?
Exactly. Except for actually telling me to, but he made it perfectly clear of what he wasn't telling me.
That is wrong.
And Xander's raging, and he says it's a slap in the face for every single one of us who studied hard and worked long hours to earn that D. Cordelia's got a load of great stuff that she says here when she points out that certain people are entitled to special privileges. They're called winners, and that's the way the world works.
And what about that nutty all men are created equal thing?
Propaganda spouted out by the ugly and less deserving.
I think that was Lincoln.
Disgusting mole and stupid hat.
Actually, it was Jefferson.
Kept slaves, remember?
Buffy arrives to school with Cameron in his car, and he's talking more shite about the ocean, and Buffy just looks bored as fuck, which I thought was quite funny. He locks her in the car, asks her if she's wearing a bra, and says he's not going to hurt her. And she's like,
Oh, it's not me I'm worried about.
and then he asks if she likes it rough and tries to grab her ditties.
Right. Aren't they just arriving to school?
Yeah.
So he's thinking
9
on
in
the way to
morning.
school, you know what I fancy? Bit of sexual assault before school. That's mental to me. I just thought this is so... I love that this is when he decides, this is when I'm going to do it.
Cameron tries to grab Buffy's ditties, and she smacks his face off the steering wheel, breaking his nose just as Snyder happens to walk by. I love it. And then he's like, in the nurse's office, Buffy tries to explain that she wasn't the attacker, she was the attacked. And Snyder's like, well, that's not what it looked like. Chick, I saw you banging his face off the steering wheel.
This scene. Sorry, keep going.
Cameron says that Buffy was leading him on and then went schizo on him. And Buffy's like, how the fuck did I lead you on? And Cameron's like, well, look at the way you dress. The coach shows up and says he's going to need Cam back at 110% if they're going to win after what happened with Dodd. And Buffy overhears this and asks, well, what happened with Dodd? And the coach is like, mind your business. And tells the nurse Ruthie to look after his boy. And she's like, I always do. In her big mad southern accent. And he also tells Buffy to stop dressing like a slag.
2 people in that episode. And she's not even dressed like a slag. She's wearing like a wee fucking halter top or something. A wee vest top. That was mad to me. I was really like, all right, there's going to be comeuppance for that. No, they just got away with saying that she's dressed like a wee slut, and that's why she was asking for it. That's mad.
I quite like that they put that commentary in there without anyone defending her, because it's more realistic of like
yeah, agreed.
what things would be like.
More true to life. And this nurse has been in everything.
Yes, I love Nurse Greenlee. She's played by Conchata Farrell, and she was Berta in 2.5 Men, Brenda in Erin Brockovich. The part where Julia Roberts is like, I'm not talking to you, bitch!
Well, what am I supposed to do? Check in every 2 seconds?
Yes, it's called accountability.
I'm not talking to you, bitch! Excuse me! Get out of my face!
And she's in Edward Scissorhands as well.
Bobby's having a big rant to the group in the library about the whole situation, at which point it freeze frames to the whole group just staring at her.
So, anything new with you guys?
Thank you for taking an interest.
This is what I mean. There's these wee moments in here that I'm suddenly going like, oh, were we back there now? That felt like something we did. But like you're saying, this was written for earlier on in the season when it wasn't quite as...
Yeah.
uptight.
I also don't mind them, I think, because the second half of the season has been so heavy. It's nice to have a wee...
No, I don't dislike it. It's just something that I...
You were saying you
like
disliked it, so why are you contradicting yourself now?
I contradict myself every single episode, this whole, if you were to go back, excuse me, listener, viewer, if you were to go back and listen and watch this from the start, you'll hear how often I contradict myself, even within my own sentence. Giles says that they found Dodd's remain on the beach. No bones, just skin and cartilage. Cartilage is such a gross.
Sorry, I don't know why
remains.
Just one remains.
Just, well, it was one, anyway.
It was a piece of lettuce. It's not even funny, but...
That was good. Oh my god.
I'm going to have to put in a clip of like a wee lettuce on the beach.
It sounds like a car's going past your house and needs to get their fan belt changed. Your wee squeaky voice. You know what I mean? When the car's going past and it's fan belt screaming.
That's my new nickname, Fan Belt.
Alright, only fan belts. Anyway, Jad says that Dodds' remains has been found at the beach. No bones, just skin and cartilage. Sander quotes Jaws and says, in other words, this is no boating accident. Never seen Jaws.
Neither have I.
And I just know all of the references, but I've never, because of The Simpsons probably.
Yeah, and we're going to need a bigger boat.
Yes, that's the only 2. I think that's it.
And
Blind to date.
Blind date. Sorry. Can I just interject a brief little story? I remember one time we were at Sunflower Festival and one of the... You know when you have a memory that just you can't stop laughing at? Oh my god. And at one of the stalls, they were selling recorders, and Ali Bradley picked it up, and the woman was like, can you play anything? And she's like, yeah. And she started playing Blind Date on the recorder.
Not an old Irish tune that you could do from a tin
No, it's
whistle
like
nose.
I don't know why.
Sorry, I'm laughing at your laugh now. That's so mental.
Oh my god! I don't know why that.
I can
cracked me
see
up
why that's
so much.
because she expected to play something because she's like a wee Irish family where they could all play everything. Anyway, sorry. So Buffy says like, something split him open and ate out his insides. Willow's like an Oreo cookie. Now, Willow, this is why it's not like an Oreo cookie. You don't eat just the insides and then leave the two black bits sitting on the beach for the
On the
police to
beach.
find. You eat the two black bits by dipping it into the milk. It is actually the only thing that I remember taking back from America was licking and dipping Oreo cookies into milk.
You can eat them whatever way you want.
No, you
but
can't, Tony.
I personally like to twist them apart,
Yeah.
lick the stuff off, and then leave the biscuits on the beach.
So basically, they're trying to find a monster that eats humans whole except for the skin. Buffy says, this doesn't make any sense. And Sandra jokes, yeah, the skin's the best part. I thought it was a good joke. She asks, any demons with high cholesterol?
You're gonna think about that later, mister, and you're gonna laugh.
I thought this was great.
I thought it was brilliant because they
Yeah,
often
because
don't
it's-
address that they're making jokes. They
Yeah.
just like say it. So I thought it was quite smart to be like, I know I'm being like
Oh, it's fucking
facetious or
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah, and this is what a little moment where I wrote down in my mind's eye. I know how you feel, Buffy. The amount of times that I deliver some solid fucking jokes on this podcast, and Tony just goes, "Cameron's in the sauna."
I mean, if they were that solid, I'd be riding them. I mean, laughing at them. So Cameron's in the sauna and he hears some noises, but it's just Coach Marin telling him to hit the showers. And I was just thinking, I hate saunas. I've that kind of heat. Wait, which one is the sauna? Is the one where it's the wet heat or the dry heat?
Sauna's
Isn't
the
there a
wet
difference?
one, and then you've got sauna's a dry one, and the steam room is the wet one.
Steam room. Okay.
But
Yeah,
I think
so
they
he's
say
technically
saunas
not
for multiple things.
yeah. And just if anyone was wondering,
Could be
because I'm gay, obviously, I've never been to the gay sauna.
Have you not?
No, never been in my whole life. But I kind of, well, I was gonna say I kind of would like to, but I wouldn't because I hate the idea of having to walk around with like your clothes off, and then also the idea in the steam room if someone like tries to go with you and you don't want to, I feel like I don't think I would be polite enough to be like, no thanks.
I thought you'd be more like, "Oh, the heat has overtaken me. I'm going to collapse on the floor. I hope all the men in the room don't take advantage."
Yeah, but that's kind of
Ah.
that is kind of what happens, and there's obviously like sauna etiquette. This some of the sauna tour videos that you can see on YouTube are actually quite good because they show like all the different. There's like rooms and stuff that you can like. You pay like £16 a month or something, I think, and you can use it whenever. And it's basically like somewhere where you can go and have sex. Now,
Lovely.
I probably shouldn't say that based on that I've never been. It's like I wouldn't go to the sauna, but I'd invite them to my actual house.
Yeah, that's better.
It is. At least if I get murdered, I'll be at home. Xander bumps into Cameron in the hallway and he calls Xander a loser. Oh my god, are we that far already? Xander teases him for getting beat up by Buffy after he tried to grab her ditties. And Xander's like, I love it when you guys try to mess with her. And then Cameron's like, you're lucky I'm hungry. And Xander reminds him that the cafeteria is closed, but Cameron says, not to me. Like, what are you going to do? Break in and cook yourself something? Like, it's not like there's loads of food like left over prepared for you to go in and eat. You fucking freak. But yeah, like I was saying, it just seems like it's a lazy story point. Oh my god,
Yeah.
you made me hate this episode.
Yeah.
So we hear Cameron goes into the cafeteria and he does that smell in the fart thing. Oh, what is that foulness? And he starts screaming, and Xander runs into the cafeteria and he finds the place in a shambles. This is one of my favorite things that Buffy does. It's like someone screams in a room and they go in and the whole room is completely trashed, even though it's only been about 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, and
I
you don't
love
hear
it.
the trash room being trashed, which would be quite loud. You're just going like, "Oh, help me, man!"
Yeah, and considering he was nowhere near the skin, like how did he mess up the whole room? But whatever, plot point for another time.
You've been a wee better with this episode. Keep it lit. I like it.
Xander rushes into the cafeteria and he finds it in a shambles with Cameron's skin on the ground. Xander turns around. All I can think of is it reminds me of how much my mum loves eating chicken skin, or she used to love eating chicken skin.
Can I also say, I think, yeah, I also hate chicken skin, unless it's proper crispy. Did
Yes.
someone complain the last time that we were making vomity noises because even the sound of vomiting is enough to trigger that, like that like brr sound is enough to make someone think, or maybe someone just told me that.
No, you're right, but I guess we'll find out.
You're such a wee dick.
Remember when we went to see Deep Blue Sea and you
Yeah.
screamed? And the wee old woman next to you was like, "Are you okay?"
You okay? That also happened to me one other time in the cinema. There's two famous cinema stories, and I think Melissa may have written in about one of them that I have in my life. And one of them is I went to cinema with Kiva and my mate Keeves. We were watching again. An old lady was sitting next to me, and we were watching. No, it wasn't. It was a fella, and we were watching the first of the last Harry Potters. And there's a scene where Hermione's in the bedroom and she's going around the bed, and the old lady has turned into the snake, and the snake is like straight into the camera, just that like that, and I shit my necks
Yeah.
and screamed like a child, like ah! Like that, proper squealed, and made the guy next to me also squeal, and he was raging because I made it. Whenever you get annoyed at the person that scared you,
Yeah.
he wasn't scared by the thing. I scared him, and he was like, "Fuck's sake!" If you get scared,
Yeah.
it really made me laugh. And the other time I was with Melissa. Sorry, very quickly. The other time I was with Melissa, and we're in the Odyssey, and we're at the back rows, wayo. And I was like, "Go and get something." Or I need to go to the toilet or something. And I went, and I have the shittest ankles in the world. I fall all the time. And I fell from the top and just slid like that the whole way down. I remember my arm was absolutely wrecked. In front of everybody in the cinema. And Melissa would not stop laughing. And every so often, it would go quiet, and she would just start going like, and she just start giggling again. It would be like we would have to leave the cinema. It was awful. But really, really funny now. I remember Melissa will hear this and she'll be like, "Oh my god!" You should actually clip this and send it to her, and she'll just probably give you more details on how fucking stupid I was.
I remember I worked at that cinema.
You worked downstairs. I worked in the cinema. Did you work next to cinema?
No, I worked in the cinema for like 2 weeks.
With Jillian?
No, it was before Jillian went to the cinema, but it was after I worked in Odyssey Bowl. I worked in Odyssey. Remember they made me the head chef on like my first night there because the other person like quit, and it was a Westlife concert.
Holy shit! You stepped
and I
up,
had to
babe.
make hundreds and hundreds of burgers and chips. I used to smell so bad from that job.
Yeah, I had KFC at the time. Me and you were two smelly, oily fuckers. Like,
Yeah, we
that's
were.
why we got
absolutely
so fat.
rotten.
We should see if we had jobs in gyms. We would be six. Nah, still be fat cunts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did I work in a gym once? No, I'm maybe thinking of the time I went to the gym. It felt like work.
No, that time that you had sex with a guy called Jim, so you were just in gym.
Although I do remember I did have sex with a guy who worked in the gym in Odyssey. In the Odyssey, and we had sex in the disabled toilet, and he was really sorry, I don't want to tell that story, but he was really sexy and muscly. But that just gave me like a sense memory when you said you had sex with a guy called Jim, and I was like,
No, I didn't have sex with a guy.
no,
Yeah,
when you said that about me, you did have sex with a guy called Jim.
Yeah, but I didn't want to tell people on the podcast about it.
Xander turns around and finds himself face to face with the creature responsible, a creature from the Black Lagoon looking motherfucker.
The Blue Lagoon?
The Black Lagoon is the monster.
I know, I was making the joke from the show.
It wasn't funny, no offense. I didn't put it in the notes, but they do refer to these monsters as gill monsters.
Oh, right, okay. Don't remember that.
I just thought that you would have. They don't say it in the show, but apparently that's what they're called.
Referred to.
Because all the notes and lines call them gill monsters, and I was like, that just sounds like an Irish name. Gill Monsters.
Guildford Munster. Hi, my name's Guildford Munster. Gill Munster.
In the library, Cordelia sketches the creature that Xander saw before running off like a woman. I loved Cordelia's drawing. I thought it was so good.
It's quite funny.
But I wasn't sure if it was meant to be funny or if it was like straddling the line between like, it was actually kind of good.
Buffy was right. According to the statistics, Dodd and Cameron were the best swimmers on the team.
First and second, actually, which means if my theory is correct, Gage Petronzi, the third best swimmer on the team, would be the next item on the menu.
The whole thing about Buffy, I felt like they made a subtle point of letting us know that this was Buffy's hint that she thought, like, about the monsters targeting the swim team. I love that Cordelia's like, God, this is so sad. We're never going to win the state championship.
I like that line.
They think that someone is looking revenge on the swim team, and Willow suggests Jonathan because they were bullying him at the beach. Buffy says, good idea, but why don't you go interrogate him, chick? And Willow says, I'll crack him like an egg.
I like this little hint the whole way through this that she's actually a bad bitch. Like,
Yeah.
she's sweet, but she's a bad bitch. Like, you don't want to fuck with her. Like, imagine if she was a witch or something, and then imagine she was like a really angry witch or something. Imagine she'd be a really good angry witch, but that would never happen.
It would never happen.
That would be so far-fetched.
Buffy's trying to be inconspicuous around Gage, and I love that, like, the magazine she's pretending to read is upside down while Willow interrogates Jonathan under a lamp. I love this interrogation scene. I thought it was hilarious. Like, Alison Hannigan and Danny Strong do such a great job with the comedy in this scene.
I would rather Buffy was just bad rather than comically bad and left the comedy stuff for Willow, because she does it so, because the juxtaposition of Willow being so sweet and lovely and then furious is very funny. Buffy being just bad at following someone doesn't feel, I don't know, it felt like, just give me the one joke or something. This is where I meant, like, the writing felt a bit all over the place. Like Buffy's could have been, anyway, I liked it. I was up for it. I just felt this is why this feels like it should be episode 4 and not episode 20.
Is there going to be an intermission in this?
So Willow's talking to Jonathan, or interrogating Jonathan, and she's like, so you wanted revenge, didn't you? She's like, didn't you? And she puts her face into his. And Jonathan cracks and says, yeah, he did it. And Willow's just sitting there all smug, like she's figured out. And she's like,
So, you delved into the black arts and conjured up a hell beast from the ocean's depths to wreak your vengeance. Didn't you?
What?
Jonathan's like, what? No, I snuck in yesterday and peed in the pool.
Ew.
But Xander overhears Coach Marin and Snyder chatting. They need another swimmer or they won't be eligible for the competition. They don't even care if the guy can swim. All he has to do is wear a bathing suit.
Or not, says you. So at the Bronze that night, Buffy's still stalking Gage, but he calls her out on it because she's terrible at it. I actually quite liked how he caught her. It was like he was taking the wee shot and looked under his arm. I thought it was quite a little, like, nifty little piece of acting. She attempts to cover it up by saying she's a swim groupie and loves the smell of chlorine on a guy.
Oh, baby.
I actually do kind of like the smell of chlorine on my skin. Not on my clothes, but on my skin after being in the swimmers.
Oh, baby.
I didn't talk about the fact up top how difficult the title of this episode would be for you because you're a massive Millie.
Go fish.
Go fish. She tells him that there's a monster out there making a fillet of the populace. Sorry. She tells him that there's a monster out there making fillets. Did she say fillet or fillets?
No, she says fillet. You were right.
Was I right? I thought she'd say fillet. She tells him that there's
I
a
can't
monster out
believe
there
you corrected yourself to dumb yourself down.
because I thought it was being a wab by saying fillet. Let's go. Fest time. She tells him that there's
There's a monster out there.
You dick.
Making fillets
So
of
she
the
tells him that
populace.
there's a monster out there making fillets of the populace, and she thinks he might be next. He calls her a twisted sister. Twisted sister is such a weird thing to say again.
What a
But anyway,
twisted sister.
don't be such a twisted sister. He calls her twisted sister. He comes off really camp here. He does come off, so I think he comes off. A lot of the Buffy guys come off quite camp.
They're gay.
And as he leaves, he calls her a psycho bitch under his breath. Psycho bitch. Don't be such a psycho
What a
bitch.
psycho bitch.
What a psycho
What the hell?
bitch.
What the hell, bitch?
When out comes the head camp queen of Sunnydale, Angel, or Angelus. So Angel comes out and he says, you gotta be talking about Buffy, right? And then they have a wee convo about someone knocking Buffy off her high horse when Gage asks, anyone in mind?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And Angel goes into Vamp Face, sneaks up behind his back, says, you're at luck, I'm recruiting, and bites Gage. My question here, at a little...
Gage loved it probably. He's like,
is he recruiting?
That was what I wondered. So was Angel planning on turning Gage to annoy Buffy as a way of like knocking her off her high horse.
Oh, I see. Right, okay. So then there's not a thing. I thought this was in the next episode, there's a big fucking army of vampires because he's been turning people like mad or something. I thought this was a plot point that will come up later on.
Well, actually, there are a lot of vampires in the next episode, so I didn't really
Maybe.
think about.
No, but I thought the recruitment was part of the thing, but maybe it's not. He's just saying that. Anyway, Buffy leaves at Bronze and hears Gage screaming for help. And actually, if you listen, he says, Buffy, help me. I can hear him asking for Buffy's help.
Like,
which
Buffy,
is like,
go away! I'm getting turned on. Oh my god!
Buffy, hold me back. No, don't.
That's like me walking through Barnett's Dements.
When Buffy gets her, though, Angel spits out Dements. So whenever Buffy gets her, she sees Angel spitting out Gage's blood, and he throws him at Buffy and runs off, which I thought was great. I love it when he chucks like a person at another person. It's actually a really clever way of getting away.
Was that the thing that killed Cameron?
No, that was something else.
Something else?
It's like he's doing another accent, and he's like, "Is that the thing that killed Cameron? Something else?
Something else?"
Why are you doing a
Yeah,
jazz impression?
It was weird, yeah.
Well, it was his first acting job.
And then Gage asked Buffy to walk him home, which I thought was quite sweet.
Yeah, it was.
The following day, the Scooby Girls are watching the swim team practice. Gage stops to wave at Buffy, definitely gay.
So he spit it out? I thought Angel liked blood. He used to.
Maybe his eyes were too big for his stomach.
Or maybe there was something in Gage's blood that Angel didn't like. Say, for example, steroids.
That would explain all their behavioral changes.
And their winning streak.
Cordelia is telling them they weren't able to find any demons that match the description Xander gave when she gets distracted by a sexy hunk walking to the pool in a Speedo, and it's Xander. Now, it doesn't take that long to go from someone's toes to someone's face.
David, shut up.
I know, I'm being pedantic. Those look great though.
I would have liked a fatter bulge, but
maybe he doesn't have it.
I think it was maybe because of TV, because none of the guys have decent bulges.
There's one of them. One of them does.
Oh, is it one of them packing a Wallpaper?
Yeah, right at the very end. See when they all go to dive in? There's a bit where they all dive in. Am I thinking of the right thing, or was I watching a different TV show?
You're watching Queer as Folk?
I think I was just watching gay porn, or as I like to call it,
regular porn.
He's gay.
The big hunky sexy hunk is Xander. The girls look horrified, which is the worst thing that when you've got girl mates and you look kind of nice, when they go, you look really good. It's like, all right, you don't say, you fucking bitch.
I'm undercover.
You're not under much.
Get out of here before someone sees you impersonating a member of the swim team.
I don't do impersonations. I tried out for the team last night. I made it.
Really?
And he is fit.
He is fit. I've been saying this since episode 1. Stop trying to make it out that this jock is clearly this clear jock is a fucking nerd. And every time he plays a jock, he does it so well.
Gay? No, he's not gay.
Cordelia seems impressed. He says he thought it was a good idea for when Buffy can't watch the guys.
When you're nude? I meant to say changing.
You can see how she was totally picked for that part in American Pie. How that was screaming for her to be that part. The coach tells Xander to flirt in his own time, and he goes to get ready. As well, tells the group that Jonathan had nothing to do with it. He just peed in the pool right as Xander dives in the pool. Dives.
Oh.
He does the biggest belly flop ever.
It is, and you can hear it too. The sound of that like clappy sound as his fucking belly slaps the...
I used to hate jumping in the swimming pool because of like people would always make such a big deal if you were fat getting into a pool.
Well, when it was either me or you, like people were scared. Like kids were found at the top of the rafters, whatever. Sorry, I just make a fat joke.
We weren't ever allowed to get in the same pool.
No.
They can't have two wild wheels next to each other.
In the steam room, Xander's yammering on, and we see some sea monster claws coming through the grate and starts to open it, which is quite a cool little scene.
It's Lady Gaga. She's about to start dancing. So Gage is smelling that foul smell too, and he can't seem to find the source. Buffy is outside the locker room waiting on him getting changed, and she hears him screaming again. He loves a big scream, that big camp queen. She bursts in and she sees him with another sea monster, but Gage keeps screaming, and Buffy looks on in horror as he like rips off his shirt and he like peels his chest open, and you see the sea monster underneath, and then his hand like comes off. This really reminds me of in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, where Freddy comes out of this guy called Jesse's body and he like rips open from the inside. But they only had one piece of skin, so they had to get that right the first
Oh
the
shit!
first
Right,
time.
okay, that's cool. I agree. I loved all of these visual effects, or the practical effects. I thought it was, and his hand coming through and stuff.
Yeah, the way his hand
I
burst
love
off.
the chest peeling was just. I thought I seen ribs and stuff. It was so gruesome. I don't normally like that sort of body horror stuff, but I thought it was done really, really well. It was class.
Buffy fights the two monsters off. One of them grabs her from behind and bites her in the arm. Coach Marin bursts into the room and the two monsters seemingly run away from him, but they do like this floor slide into a grating.
I loved that. That was so silly. It was, but they just suddenly go like, boo! It's just suddenly, and this is going out to some of my 90s football fans. They Jurgen Klinsmann out of there.
Oh, I love when Jurgen Klinsmann used to do that slide on the ground.
Very good, Tony. Very good.
The electric
Straight.
slide. I'm straight, so I am. So in the nurse's office, Buffy's told that she won't need stitches, but Buffy tells Coach Marin that the members of the swim team are becoming monsters. Willow checks the school medical records and sees that the monsters all had symptoms of steroid abuse. So Buffy thinks that the nurse must have known because she would have treated them all.
Meanwhile, I'm breaking my nails every day battling the forces of evil, and my French teacher can't even remember my name.
I like this little part where that was like very humanizing again for Buffy.
And it's true. The unfairness is so true. Like, she's literally saving them all the time. She keeps getting like in trouble for stupid shit, especially when they're corrupt as fuck. Anyway,
That's it. But Giles and Buffy go fishing in the sewers with that big tranquilizer gun that they got for Oz. Also, where's Oz?
he's touring.
Oh, he could be touring actually. Huron and Turin. Do real sewers exist like that? Like ones that you can like go down and walk around in?
In America, yes. But I
Okay.
don't think we have them here. Or we are trying to because we have too much waste. I think there's a
Mm.
famous Top Gear where Belfast is particularly terrible. I don't know why I know this. And down where the old cinema, Dublin Road Cinema was, do you know
Mhm.
that little bit of green? The wee grassy bit has a
Yeah.
toilet? That is where all of our central water goes. I think that's like a big main like meeting bit for the water. So I'm doing loads of work there for ages. Anyway, Top Gear drove a car through our sewer system when it was being built, and then they were able to get the car to go upside down. It's like a really cool. They were doing that, and that's how big the sewers are. Like you could get a car in and then be able to turn it upside down and drive it.
That's
Cool.
class.
Yeah, see if you can find the clip and pop it in.
If you're looking to drive upside down through the tunnels of Belfast, Twingo 133, absolutely ideal.
I never have like tidbits like that.
Tittle bitties.
She gon' shake that ass and I'm pretty tickle bitties.
Xander's in the steam room with the guys trying to figure out where they're getting the steroids, and one of the other team members, Shane West, he's another actor. He was the main guy in A Walk to Remember, and he was in Dracula 2000.
Oh, I love Dracula 2000.
You do, that's why I put that in
Oh, I
there.
do.
I thought you'd like
Thanks.
that. And Shane West tells him that they're soaking in the steroids. It's in the steam.
I thought that was really clever.
Smart,
I thought it was a
very
really
smart.
smart way to drug your kids in your school.
That's it. I mean, I love that the coach of the teacher who's probably being paid minimum wage is also a part-time geneticist.
Right. This was we'll get to there, we get to there. Go. This is, and it's completely just accepted. There's one sentence, and then it's like, oh, you've got a PhD in genetic science, fair, and a coach, fair.
We cut to the pool where Nurse Greenlee's telling the coach, "This has got to stop, Carl. Those poor children."
Carl.
Carl. And that's when the coach confirms that he's the one drugging them, but he needs to adjust the mix.
The mix.
The mix.
The little mix.
I like that. He throws Nurse Greenlee into the sewer under the school, question mark. This is the thing I was going to talk about. Does the sewer just exist under the swimming, under the locker room?
It must do, right? My thing is, why is there just a big, like,
Sewer?
I feel like it wouldn't just be a big pool of water. Like, I think sewers is constant flow of water. That's why they're really dangerous. And it's like the fact there's just
Standing water, and it would be
that would smell so bad.
floating poos.
Oh my god.
Absolutely rotten. Unless it's a specific type of like a school. It doesn't really matter, but either way.
Nah, it really doesn't matter. But I wondered this too. Like, why do they get so much? Like, it's really hard to get into places like that. Everyone seems to be just dandered in and out of fucking sewers. Like, and also it would smell like utter utter shit.
Human shit.
But like that real thick shit.
Not like Manjaro shit.
No. Real 3-dayer after necking a load of fucking Imodium shits.
Oh no, like when you'd eat a whole packet of Oreos and it's like black goo the next day.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you still go like... Sorry.
Like, it's liquid, but I may as well eat it again.
Please stop.
Yeah, so he flings Big Nurse Greeley into the water and the 3 monsters come to eat her.
Sander's freaking out in the library, and he's been in the steam room 3 times with the guys. I quite like that he's like, when he's talking about being in the steam room, they're like, "Oh, you've only been in once." He's like, and like, "Well, twice." And then he's like, and then it's the 3 times.
3 times the fish guy.
Buffy says, "I wouldn't break out the tartar sauce just yet." Cordelia is also worried that she can't date a guy.
Are you not taking a wee break to laugh at that line? It was so funny.
It feels like an old person's joke.
I love tartar sauce.
Cordelia's also worried that she can't date a guy from the Blue Lagoon. Oh yeah, that was that joke. And Sander comes over and is like, the Black Lagoon. Their relationship is still class. Buffy tells Giles to lock up the rest of the swim team while they figure out what's in the gas. In the gas?
The steam,
In the
but they say
steam.
gas.
In the gas. Willow says she'll go find the nurse, and Buffy comments on how she's really getting into this interrogating thing.
The trick is not to leave any marks.
Love all of these things that Willow's saying. Buffy goes off to find the coach, who tells her that she has a big imagination. She doesn't have any proof, and he confesses that he's been like combining fish DNA with the steroids based on like old Soviet experiments. When Buffy asks why, he says, "For the win. Do you not realize we have the chance to win the championship?" This is such I want to talk about this championship thing that American TV shows do all the time. Like, states, we're going to go to states. We're going to go to, like, continental trials and all these, like, do you know what I mean? Like, those, like, in Bring It On, they have, like...
Yeah, they go to state champion. It's so funny because, obviously, we don't have to compete with any of that. So we can be, like, the best in the country very easily.
very, very easily.
Because there's no competition.
There's only about 7 people. This is what we touched on earlier on. The coach is just a complete genius when it comes to genetic engineering. He can create a steroid that is with fish DNA that creates this creature, and all while being an absolute fucking dickhead.
It did make me wonder if that is part of the Helmut's influence
Very good.
on
Very good. Tony,
Psychos.
it
You know
could
how,
be.
like, Ted built Ted and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, it perpetuates that evil notion that you have in your head, maybe. But I still don't understand how it gives you the ability to do it.
Not very well.
It is quite farcical, but being played quite serious at times. But I think they steer more into farce than into tragedy. But in my opinion,
But I think that's what sells it too, is the idea that they're not playing it up like, oh, you
Yeah.
know, when they're literally like, he's like, well, yeah, I've been experimenting with fish DNA. So it's like, okay, you kind of buy it because he believes that what he's doing is the right thing.
when I watched it in the show, I did quite like that they just said it and moved on. And I was like, yeah, good. Don't get. It's actually one of those things that nowadays is something that really annoys me because of fanaticism online.
There'd be a whole episode dedicated to his flashback story of when he got into DNA.
Yes, that thing. I'm like, I'm just okay to. You can just tell me that's what he did, and I'm just going to have to accept it. So suspend your disbelief or fuck off and read facts.
It's a TV show.
We'll get into all that when we get into it.
Pussy.
There's a point here where the coach turns around to Buffy and says, "Boy, when they were handing out school spirit, you didn't stand in line, did you?" And Buffy says, "No, I was in line for a shred of sanity," which I love. Their little ret-a-tet is great.
Yeah.
The coach pulls out a gun and forces her into the hole into the sewer. The dead nurse's body floats by with all these like bite marks, but none of her eaten. Or was that supposed to be her skin splayed out?
No, because they don't actually eat the insides. Remember, they turn into the monsters. It was just meant to be like she's just bitten.
Doesn't matter. She's floating by and she's bitten. Anyway, Buffy says, "So what are you going to just feed me to them?" The coach says, "Nah, they've had their dinner. They're probably going to just buck you." Boys have other needs.
Yeah.
Ugh, fuck me. There's a lot of
So his casual view of like, my team are going to pump you.
pump.
But and also think that he obviously has displayed that he would think that she deserves it because of the way she dresses.
Oh, yeah, what a fucking cunt. I really hate this coach. I actually really hate this coach.
I do love conveniently that Buffy seems to be wearing Converse, because obviously she has a lot of up and down into the sewers to do. So they probably just like, let's just have her wear Converse this
Let's give
episode.
her
It'll
fucking
be
Converse. A pair of jeans and we top. Fuck that.
that's it. Jeans and a nice top. So
That's how all models should go and get their modeling careers.
jeans and a nice top. I think that's actually like that's like became a joke online because there's a part on like Boohoo or something where you could go into the category like jeans and a nice top.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
never
which
knew
is
that.
so funny. Xander and Cordelia are at the pool while he's freaking out about being scaly, so he goes off to the locker room to check if he is. And we see a monster kind of goes into the water behind Cordelia, and she thinks it's Xander.
I loved all of this. Go ahead, sorry.
It's so good. She has this great monologue about how it's her fault, and he was so courageous, and he looked great in those speedos, and that she still cares about him no matter what he says. And she even says that they can still date or not. I understand if you want to see other fish.
That gave me, I properly did a wee lol. I lolled at
Yeah.
that. I was like, it's so funny. She's so funny.
And she's like, I'll do everything I can to make your quality of life better, whether that means little bath toys or whatever. And then Sandra shows up beside her.
Before Sandra shows up, can I jump in there?
Yep.
This was really sweet. Like,
Yes.
this was really sweet of Cordelia. She obviously really gives a fuck about Xander that she was willing to buck a monster.
Well, not Bucka Monster, but she was, yeah, of course, once again, you've boiled that down to its most simplest form.
That's me.
Xander shows up beside her, and it's like, that's not me. And then as the monster jumps out of the water and scares the fuck out of them, they go off running like fuck. I love how they use this whole like comedy moment, and because there was like serious music played underneath it, and
Yeah.
I like how they were still able to turn it into like a genuine moment of growth for Cordelia. I thought it was really, really well done. And she is getting, maybe it's because she's started in a place where it's less likable that her growth seems more,
Likeable. You like her. You grow to like her.
yeah, it's more seeable. That's not the right word. What is it? You can, perceptible?
Believable.
Yeah. Just, or you can just see it more. Sorry.
Perceptive. More perceptive.
Perceptible.
I don't know what word you're trying to use, but yeah.
Perceptivation. The perceptivation of
Perceptive. Oh, yeah. What was it? Psychologicalize? Is that the word we come up with in the last pod?
Oh, that was reverse
Psychologicalized.
psychologicalized. Yeah.
The psychologicalized.
Giles locks the rest of the team in the library cage, and Willow mentions that there's one person missing, Sean, and that's when Cordy and Xander come back into the library saying they found Sean in the pool skinless dipping.
Skinless dipping was funny. So we cut to Buffy in the sewer swimming pool, which I don't think we should call it a sewer swimming pool. I think it's just a sewer.
But
It's not
that's why I
like,
called
let's
it
go
a
for a
sewer
wee
swimming
dip.
pool, because it's like a swimming pool.
Let's go for a wee shitty dip.
Shitty dip.
And Buffy says, great, this is just what my reputation needs, that I did it with the entire swim team. Xander goes off to find Buffy, confronts the coach while Buffy starts fighting with the monsters in the sewer. Really good fight, because it felt like that, what do you call that? What is it they're a swim team of? What do you call those, that sport?
Crook water polo?
Water polo. And they all do this like dive, and there's a really cool, like, have you ever seen water polo? Like they all dive like otters under, it's really cool. Anyway.
Oh, cool.
I thought it was very cool how they filmed this, and I quite like the little fight scene. Xander manages to disarm the coach and knock him out and save Buffy, who he helps get up to safety. And she has to, I quite like that she had to still use her like super strength, because she goes down to the bottom of the pool and then like really
springs up.
I did that thing. Remember chatting about how when you feed a child you go like or when you mouth along with someone.
Did you go like
tensed.
that?
I did.
You were doing
whenever
pelvic
she did
floor.
Whenever she did it, I went like.
I think I did the same thing as well.
I just couldn't help it because I could feel the effort to go into, because I know how hard it is to like water
out of
when
water.
you're wearing clothes is so, especially when you're heavy. The coach smacks Xander in the head with the gun, and in the process falls into the sewer hole. And before Buffy can save him, the boys attack him, prompting Buffy to say the boys really do love their coach. And she had his wee foot, and I swear in a split second I thought she was gonna go, fuck it.
Yeah.
I really would love it. She went, fuck him.
She pretty much did.
And that was all. I really like, this is a real cool way to end it. I quite like that Xander's now just one of the team that can come in and save Buffy, and it's not made a big deal out of it. It's just, it's
'cause
expected now.
He did a really great job of like disarming the coach, knocking him out, and saving Buffy. Buffy would have been fish fingered. Fish fingered.
Fish fingered. Ooh.
So the next day, Xander is telling them that he has to go get plasma transfusions with the team. Cordelia tells Xander that he's really proved himself to her and that she'd be happy enough if he just played football. Giles shows up and tells them that the monsters have escaped conveniently, and Buffy's just like, I don't think we're going to see them anymore. It's like, how the fuck do you know? But obviously convenience for the sake of the plot. And when Giles asks, oh, where do you think they'll go? And she's like, home. And then cut to the hilarious footage of those guys in monster suits trying to swim in the ocean. It's almost like the way they're looking around too. It's like they're waiting for the director to be like, cut. Because they're like,
But imagine like that suit with its like, I imagine it would be quite tight and quite like, and then you go into water, and the first thing that is going to do is like completely. I just was like, and the fact that they're coming out like wee dolphins.
yeah.
It really, I laughed at that. It made me laugh. I was like, this is ridiculous. And I think it's played for ridiculousness. I don't think it's supposed to be sincerely. Look at these lovely little monsters going off into where? Where are they going? Like they didn't exist before.
Also, because it was in the daytime, it just seemed ridiculous.
Yes, and it does seem ridiculous. And here's my other part that I felt like when it got to the end and this happened. These aren't real. Sorry. I know they're not real. These aren't conjured.
This is a documentary.
These aren't in a book. These are brand new monsters that this person has created.
Yeah.
So my question is, if this is because of him fucking about with the fish DNA, with the human DNA, with steam, created the Gilly monsters, how do they have a home? They've never existed before.
The ocean, because they're
I know, but I'm just like,
so suspend your disbelief or fuck off and read facts.
At the end of it all, I was like, this doesn't matter. This episode doesn't matter for the grand scheme of things. This is just a day in the life of Buffy and the Scooby Gang. And I quite like that. And I genuinely love those episodes because I think they're a bit more fun. Because they try things a bit more. This felt more comical. The times that we've had ones that felt more like proper horror, like that are genuinely creepy and scary. This felt a little bit more lighthearted, and maybe if you're saying we've got the finale coming up next week, that it might be a nice lighthearted thing to do before we inevitably kill someone, which probably happens in the finale.
It's definitely a little dip into some non-seriousness before we're into the very intense end of season 2.
I actually, for our Buffy listeners out there, have no idea what happens. So I'm actually really looking forward to next week and watching the finale to see what the fuck actually happens. I'm going to guess it because Angel starts, the TV show starts after this season. Isn't that correct?
No, not until after season 3.
Oh, okay. Then I absolutely have no idea what happens then. I can't even guess. But it was a fun little episode. Oh, and I've got an interesting thing, Tony, that I went back and looked at. Did you know that the nurse and the coach are the 5th and 6th faculty members to die?
They are dropping like flies.
Dropping like flies.
Dropping like my fly in a public toilet.
Dropping like my poo in a public toilet.
Oh, that noise was so perfect.
You got it? You got one?
Wow, you do have a talent.
So yes, next week we're into the finale, which is very, very...
And that is 2 seasons in a year we've done then.
9 months or something.
Class. Well, I really enjoyed this episode, Tony. Thank you so much for all of your hard work last week getting that edit done. For anyone that's watched last week's episode, thank you so much for watching last week's episode. Thank you so much for the Becoming Buffy girls for coming in and giving us their time and their energy and their knowledge. For anyone a little behind the scenes, this was a really fucking difficult edit for Tony to do, so please go watch last week's episode so he has a reason for even doing the edit. Okay, we'll fuck up and take care of the lovely guests.
Oh, sure, I guess we should, or we could, so it is. Thank you very much, everybody. Make sure to check out us on YouTube, Spotify, Patreon. You can sign up to our Patreon, you'll get a ton of exclusive stuff. We've got a new episode of All Bronze, No Brains Bite Size coming out. Please make sure to send us all your questions for next week's All Bronze, No Brains Bite Size, where we want you to talk to us about the season 2 finale. David, you should maybe prepare a small season 2 quiz for me.
You keep reminding Just keep reminding me to do that this week, and I will. I keep meaning to. I just forget. So if you just give
okay.
me a shout, and I'll do it. No, I want to, because I want to stump you.
I bet you do. Yeah, I'd love to stump you. Oh, sorry, they said pump.
Okay, bye.
Thanks everybody. Bye.
Thanks,
love
everybody.
you. See
Bye.
you later. Oh
Love
my
yous.
God, I'm
Bye.
pregnant.